welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. Southampton 2, Manchester United 3 at St Mary's Stadium yesterday. As everybody knows now, what an unbelievable game that was. 2-0 down at half time. Obviously extremely concerning being 2-0 down at half time, and you're thinking at that time, can we get back in it? I've got to be honest, as soon as we got the first goal back, I did have a feeling that we might be able to win that game. We'd played well enough in the first half. I don't think we were that bad. We had probably the better chances of the game, even in the first half, and played some good football at times. But as I say, once you get the one goal back, you feel like the momentum's with you. So I did fancy that we could get back in it once we got that goal. The lineup. On the show the other day, I gave my estimation of what I thought he'd go with. I expected Cavani to start. I got that wrong. Obviously, I expected Martial to start as well, but apparently he was taken ill overnight and couldn't play. So the two players that were missing from the lineup, I got the lineup wrong by 2, although the formation was probably different as well. But obviously I had Cavani and I had Martial in the lineup, and really I would say Martial's place was taken by Greenwood, and believe it or not, if you think about it, Cavani's place was taken by Nemanja Matic. That's what I'm saying about the formation being different. So Matic and Fred played. As I always say, we need two of McTominay, Fred and Matic playing, and yesterday it was Matic and Fred, and we tend to do well when two of those three play. And again, it worked okay in the end. All right, it was 2-0 down at one point, but it worked well enough in the end. Van der Beek started, obviously Bruno started, and up top it was Rashford and Greenwood, whereas I would have definitely have started Cavani. We didn't play on Wednesday, by the way. We played on Tuesday, and this was a Sunday game. All he said in his press conference that there was a nice rest, a nice breather for the players. So I was a bit surprised, to be honest, that Cavani didn't start. But anyway, it all worked out well enough in the end. As I say, we had chances in the first half. We could easily have been in the lead ourselves, and we also could easily have equalised as well while it was 1-0. Greenwood had 2 decent chances, well, one excellent chance when he hit the side netting. Maybe should have done a bit better, but he made the chance for himself, intercepted, running onto the ball really, and going past the man as he got onto it. And then he also had a shot from the edge of the box when maybe he could have passed it to his left. Bruno was running through the inside left channel, but he strikes it well, Greenwood. I don't think you can blame him really for having a shot from the edge of the box when you've got the power in your left foot that he's got. The keeper couldn't hold it. It came back out to Bruno, who had momentum. Bruno was running onto the ball, and the save that the keeper made from Bruno's follow-up is a good save. It was a decent save from Greenwood's shot, but the save to Bruno's follow-up was unbelievable. It really was a fantastic save. I've got to mention, though, the way people look at things differently when it's different players. Anthony Martial forced a fantastic save from the West Brom keeper last week, and Martial was a little bit further out. Plus, he was standing as the ball came to him, so it was nowhere near as good a chance as the chance that Bruno had yesterday. Bruno was a bit closer in, and he was running onto the ball. He had momentum. He could have absolutely smashed that in. He could have got lots of power in it. Last week, as the ball came to Martial, he was hitting it from a standing start. It was much more difficult to get any power in it. So the chance that Bruno had yesterday was an easier chance, without any doubt, than Martial's chance last week, and yet everybody's just talking about what a fantastic save it was. And it was a fantastic save, of course it was. It was also a fantastic save by the West Brom keeper, but all I'm pointing out is that lots of people were saying that Martial shouldn't have given him a chance to save it, and that's not being said this week. On the Southampton goals, we got done again at the near post, a near post corner from Ward Prowse. If you cast your mind back to towards the end of last season, just after lockdown, Southampton nicks a point at Old Trafford with an injury time equaliser. I said at the time, an in-swinging corner from Ward Prowse to that near post, if it's delivered perfectly, There's doesn't matter how many players are around you. If you've got a 6'3" inch, 6'4" inch man on that near post, if the height of the ball is perfect, you can't. I don't care if there's 6 players around him. The person who can get to that ball when it's at the perfect height for you to jump and just get a touch on it. There's a man behind you, the man in front of you. It's a little bit too high for the man in front of you. The man who's behind you, he can't come through your back. If the delivery's perfect, there's nothing whatsoever you can do about it. I've got to mention though, on the marking, that the man, it was Bednarek who's last season it was flicked on and somebody put it in at the back post. Yesterday it was flicked straight into the goal by the person who flicks it on. Very similar set piece though, very similar, exact same corner, and he had Bednarek had Telles just in front of him and Rashford just behind him. So I'm not happy with you. I mean, the marking was fine. People might say, oh, the marking's fine. Rashford should do better. Telles should do better. They can't do anything about it. When that delivery's perfect, and it was perfect, you cannot do anything about it. The tallest man who can meet the ball at its lowest point is always going to come out on top. Like I say, there could be 6 men around him. If you can reach that ball before the others, they can't stop you. So it's a perfect ball in. The only thing that we could have done better, though, is maybe we could have had better players on that near post marking him. I don't understand why Marcus Rashford and Telles are the nearest players to him. Surely somebody like Matic, who's 6'4", Maguire, or maybe even Lindelof. Perhaps not Lindelof. He's not as good in the air or he's not as tall, I don't think, as the other two. Maybe Maguire or Matic should have been marking him. But still, even if they were, if that ball comes in at the right height and they're marking him from behind, they still can't stop him heading it if the delivery's perfect. And the delivery was perfect. So, and the free kick that he scored, I've heard quite a few people criticising David De Gea, saying he should have done better. Not for me. Not in a million years for me. Again, Ward Prowse's delivery from these set pieces seems to be second to none in the Premier League at the moment. That free kick whips over the wall. He's got to get it up over the wall. It's got to come down again. It's got plenty of pace on it. It's an inch inside the post. The way they set the wall up covering that post. The keeper covers the other side of the goal. They sort of try and cover half the goal each. Keepers are always edging a bit to the right, but they're worried if they go a bit more to the right there that they can curl it in the far corner. But he whips it over the wall. You see some wonderful saves. You do see some wonderful saves where the keepers get across and manage to get to it. But you will often find that when they do make those wonderful saves, it's usually a foot, 2 foot, maybe even a yard inside the post. But this one was an inch inside the post. In my opinion, when the keeper is doing his job correctly, in other words, he's just covering the other side of the goal and he's got to get all the way back across, I don't think any keeper in the world could have saved that. So what a difference Cavani made. His movement, he comes on at half time, Greenwood was taken off. I thought Cavani should have started. As I said, I did predict that he would start in that game. He got 1 assist and 2 goals. Unbelievable performance by a substitute that for us. Absolutely fantastic. His movement in the box is second to none. Two brilliant headers. Directly in front of the goal. All the paces on the ball from Bruno actually had a shot and I think it hit somebody's foot and bounced up a bit, so it came to him at head height, but he's not got a jump for it. A lot of people saying what brilliant headers they are. Cavani's movement in the box makes it all. Rashford's ball into the box has got lots of pace on it. So long as you get your head on that ball, it's almost certainly going to go in the goal, and that counts for both of them. So the headers, once he got to it, the headers are actually easy. They are easy finishes for anybody really, but it's actually finding that space in the box, being in the right place at the right time, and he does that superbly. I remember him coming on against Arsenal, and he made a near post run and he flicked one into the side net. I think he'd only been on the pitch a minute or two, so I'm not surprised by that. His movement in the box is superb, and he deserved it. He did absolutely superbly. I want to talk about the first goal getting us back in the game. The first goal for me is all important. When obviously it's all important. You're 2-0 down. You've got to get a goal back. If you don't get the first goal, obviously you can't go on to get the second and the third goals. And what I want to mention is Cavani makes the first goal. He's involved in the move twice as well. He lays the ball off to Fred. Fred gives it to Wan-Bissaka. Cavani moves forward, and Wan-Bissaka does well. He plays Cavani in down the right. Now Cavani, when he's on the right, he's immediately looking up to see who's inside the box, and he sees Bruno, and he plays a beautiful ball into Bruno, straight to him. Bruno does well, takes a touch and smashes it in. But the play by Cavani is exactly what Cavani wants from his teammates. The other night against Besiktas here, twice Greenwood got the ball on the right and tried to cut in to take a shot. And on one of those occasions, I can distinctly remember Cavani putting his hands in the air as if to say, look, I'm stood here on the 6-yard line, get the ball across, which is exactly what he needs. That's what he needs. He needs balls into the box so that he can get his chances. Now, he understands that. So when he gets the ball on the right, he knows what the people in the box want. He's not thinking I'll be able to dribble in and have a shot when he's got the ball on the wing. So he just looks up, picks out Bruno, puts a beautiful ball into him, and Bruno does the rest. So hopefully some of his teammates will realise that. Even in the very same game, by the way, Marcus Rashford bearing down on goal, cutting in from the left, had a shot. Only the keeper to beat. Maybe being a little bit harsh on Marcus. He's capable of banging them in. But Cavani, again, complaining. He's 10 yards to Rashford's right in front of an completely empty net. And certainly, Rashford's shot, to be fair, it was a decent save, but it was more or less straight at the keeper. So I don't really blame Cavani. He was complaining again at Rashford. Just pass it here. Got an empty net if you just pass it. Also in the game, De Gea collided with the post when he tried to save Ward Prowse's free kick. Hurt his knee, I believe. He carried on, but was taken off at half time, which gave Henderson a full half. Obviously, he got a clean sheet. It was 2-0 at half time, so Henderson got a clean sheet for his second half performance. I wonder if it might lead. I don't know if De Gea might be out for 2 or 3 games now. Even if he's not, it's maybe the perfect opportunity for Ollie to say, let's make sure it's perfectly right. Get yourself bang on again, and before you start again. I just got a feeling that maybe Henderson might get 2 or 3 games now. So let's see how that goes. Also, I was interested to see Telles go off injured, and Brandon Williams came on, I think, with 10 or 15 minutes to go. I don't know if Telles has got an injury. If he has, then we're struggling with both our left backs injured. Brandon Williams might get games. If it's not an injury to Telles, was he just tiring? Is the pace of the game a little bit too much for him, having been playing in Portugal for a few years and now playing in the Premier League? So that'll be an interesting one to see. I'm pretty certain. I know Luke Shaw's training again, but I don't think Shaw will be fit for the PSG game Wednesday. It'd be interesting to see if Telles is fit for that one. Something else that I've noticed, people on the TV talking about the experience of Cavani. He is an experienced player, but for a player who's been at the top of his game for so many years, been one of the top strikers in Europe, I don't get the reason to keep mentioning his experience. If you think about the only 2 players who have scored more goals in Europe, Cavani's been playing in Europe since 2007, and only 2 players since 2007 have scored more goals in the top European leagues than Cavani. Obviously, those 2 players are Ronaldo and Messi. I'm not convinced that if you see Ronaldo score a goal next week, or if you see Messi score a goal next week, that the commentators will start talking about the experience, this player showing his experience. I think the reason it's being mentioned on TV by British commentators is that they've not been watching Cavani left, right and centre every week for 10 years. Like they have done with Messi, like they have done with Ronaldo, even though they're playing in European leagues. Obviously, they're on TV all the time, they're spoken about all the time. I'm just not quite convinced that if Messi or Ronaldo came to the Premier League and started scoring goals, they would start talking about them using their experience and it's showing how experienced they are. They would just literally talk about what great players they are. And I think the same should be said about Cavani. He's been doing this. He's been scoring goals in Europe now, and like I say, only those two players. If you think about who Ronaldo and Messi are, a lot of people regard them as superhuman virtually. So if you count them as superhuman, there's nobody else scored any more goals than Cavani. He's been doing this since he was a young man. So it's not his experience. It really isn't his experience that's getting him into these positions to get these headers. He's just a top player. He's been a top goal scorer since he's been playing in Europe now for however long it is, 13 years or something. So it's not, of course, your experience in football helps you, of course it does. But Cavani's been doing this since he was a young man. He's a natural striker, a natural centre forward. He didn't get those two headers in yesterday because of his experience. If Cavani was, I think he's 33, isn't he? If Cavani was 23, I still believe he would have scored those two headers yesterday. I'm absolutely certain of it. It's how he plays the game. It's how he's been playing the game. You can see this by the amount of goals he's scored. That's how he's been playing the game since he was a young man. I also heard on Match of the Day that Greenwood and Rashford and even Anthony Martial's name was thrown in there. They need to watch Cavani and learn from him. I think that might well be the case. Certainly in Rashford's case, and definitely in Rashford's case, and maybe in Martial and Greenwood can learn something from him. But the reason I'm saying maybe, I just think Martial and Greenwood are more predatory already than Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's more of a player who likes to cut in and get his shots in. I don't think he's a, even Ollie has said this, I don't think he's a sniffer out of chances in the penalty box. We've already seen Martial score numerous goals like that where he's sniffed out chances in the penalty area. I'm not sure we see that too often from Marcus Rashford. So can you learn that? And we've just been speaking about experience. You know, I believe Cavani's been scoring goals like that since he was their age. So maybe they've got to learn it, but Cavani at that age was already doing it. So perhaps they can. I'm not sure though, but definitely Cavani's been doing that since he was a young man. It's what he's built his reputation on. It was great listening to Harry Maguire after the game. Harry Maguire said his movement is excellent. His movement is the best that he's played against in training, and he also said he's covering big distances for the team. I like that from Harry Maguire. The appreciation of his work rate, not just the fact that he's scoring the goals. And then Harry Maguire finished with, he's a top player, and we're lucky to have him. Couldn't agree more, and well said, Harry. The games are coming thick and fast now. We've got PSG on Wednesday, and we've got West Ham next Saturday. The West Ham game's a 5:30 game. PSG on Wednesday, we need a point to be certain of qualifying, getting through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. How Ollie's going to quite approach that, I don't know. Sometimes against these big teams in the Champions League, he goes with a back five, especially knowing that a point will be adequate. So exactly how he's going to approach it, I don't know. Cavani might play, obviously it's against his old team, but if Ollie goes, if he does go with a back five, it might only be one natural striker up front. Will Martial be fit? Will he come in? It's a difficult one to guess. For this weekend. I wouldn't pay too much. I wouldn't take too much store of Cavani coming on and scoring twice and assisting once. I'd love him to start. I don't think Ollie will be thinking, I don't think he'll feel pressurised into thinking, I've got to start him because he's just scored 2 goals in a game. He might well do, but I don't think it's going to necessarily mean that he's a shoe-in to actually start the game. I hope he does start, but I'm not convinced he will do. But as I say, a draw will do Wednesday night. On Saturday against West Ham, desperate for us to get a win there. I'm not getting carried away, but obviously you look at this you look at the table at the minute, we're 5 points behind the leaders with a game in hand. Obviously, if we played that game in hand and won it, 2 points behind the leaders, you do start getting excited. There's only 10 games gone. It's early doors, but it is a start. You know, if you could win your next 3 or 4 games, perhaps, and who's to say they can't? You know, suddenly you might start thinking, hang on. And obviously, if you won your next 3 or 4 games, some of them teams above us might drop points during that period as well. It's funny how the game in hand gets spoken about. By the way, it might be a long time before we play that game, and I find it quite interesting that game was supposed to be the first day of the season. It was Burnley. Burnley away it would have been, wouldn't it? Because we played Palace at home, which ended up being the first game. So I think it would have been Burnley away. And what I find interesting about it is obviously United started the season really poorly. I mean, we got beat by Palace, we got battered by Spurs. We were lucky to win at Brighton. That was the first 3 games we played. The way we started the season, if we'd have played Burnley away on the first day, I'm not sure we would have beaten them. I'd be surprised, to be honest, if we would have beaten them. But now that it's been put on the back burner for a while, certainly if we were to play that game in the next week or 2 while we're on a bit of a roll, I would fancy us to win it. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but it's just an interesting one that as much as we've got that game in hand, and it could mean an extra 3 points for us, if it wasn't postponed on the first day of the season, I'm not too sure we would have had those 3 points. In fact, I think we probably wouldn't have had. So that could end up being a bonus for United. Don't know when they're going to fit it in, but whenever they do, let's hope it's 3 points, and let's hope it's 3 points that keeps us right near the top of the table. Moving on, Arsenal played Wolves last night. 2-1 for Wolves. That's three home league games in a row that Arsenal have lost. Don't know what's happened there. I was very impressed with the job Arteta was doing. Did really well towards the end of last season. You know, won the FA Cup, knocked City out of the cup, beat Chelsea. They beat Liverpool in a league game. They really did start well, and at the start of this season, I thought they looked all right. I'm amazed how they've slipped away. So what's going to happen there? I'm with Arsenal. I'm not sure that they are in a bit of a mess at the moment. And a couple of things were mentioned on Match of the Day that shocked me. Leading into next Sunday, it's the North London derby, Spurs v Arsenal. And on Match of I find this astonishing. What was mentioned on Match of the Day last night, that Spurs are top of the league. And they are top of the league with 10 games or more on the board for the first time since, when did they say now? It's the first time since 1985. That's what they said. The first time since 1985 that Spurs have been top of the league with 10 games or more on the board. Absolutely astonished me. Now, the other season, in my memory, wasn't it Leicester and Spurs that were neck and neck for the title for quite a while during the season? So I'm sure Match of the Day have done their own work, but I'm shocked to find out that Spurs didn't top the league at least once during that period after 10 games. But that's what they're saying. So talking about the North London derby next week, we're going into that game with that stat. Spurs are top of the league after 10 games or more gone for the first time since 1985. And also Arsenal have got the lowest amount of points that they've got the lowest amount of points that they've ever had after 10 games since 1981-82. So I wouldn't like to be a gooner at the moment. So, but it is a derby match, as they always say. Anything can happen in a derby. So I will be watching that one next Sunday. United play Saturday at 5:30. Tonight at 5:30, Leicester versus Fulham on Sky Sports Premier League. Leicester can move. It's actually possible for them to go top of the league, but just a win would take them above Liverpool into second. If they managed to win 6-0, they would move above Spurs and go to the top. You might think, well, 6-0, that's not going to happen, but always say you don't know. No disrespect, but they are at home to struggling Fulham. So always say you don't know with that one. And at 8 o'clock tonight, West Ham v Villa, if you want to watch that, is again on Sky Sports Premier League. And it might be worth running your eye over West Ham. I've got to say, looking forward to that West Ham game. I've been very impressed with Southampton, what I've seen of them, and I wasn't so impressed with them yesterday. I've also been very impressed with West Ham from what I've seen of them. So fingers crossed. Let's hope the same applies. Let's hope next week when we play West Ham that they're not quite as good as they seem to have been when I've watched them in recent weeks. So as I say, a vital 3 points next Saturday. Hope we can get that. That's that. I'll be back later on with my player ratings, when I'll be comparing the ratings that I consider our players deserve from yesterday's game compared to the ratings in one of the major outlets. That'll be up this evening. If you've enjoyed that show, please smash a like on the video. Please subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, don't tell anyone. Keep stum.